Throughout history, the U.S. Navy has launched ships that changed the course of naval warfare and shaped the seas. From ironclads to nuclear giants, each vessel tells a story of courage, innovation, and power. Some earned glory in battle, others pushed the limits of technology. Together, they mark the evolution of America's strength at sea. Now, as we count down the 10 most significant U.S. ships ever built, let us know in the comments which one you think deserves a place on this list. Number 10. The USS Nimitz, CVN-68. Commissioned on May 3, 1975, the USS Nimitz marked a new era of American naval supremacy as the first ever class of nuclear-powered supercarriers. With twin reactors allowing her to sail for decades without refueling, she embodied endurance, strength, and technological mastery. Throughout her service, Nimitz became a floating fortress, capable of deploying over 90 aircraft and housing more than 5,000 personnel. From the Persian Gulf to the War on Terror, she has been present in nearly every major U.S. conflict since the 1970s, projecting American power across the globe. The Nimitz not only defined the Cold War carrier era, but also laid the foundation for the future Gerald R. Ford-class carriers that follow her. Even decades after her commissioning, she remains an enduring symbol of the United States' global reach and maritime superiority. Number 9. The USS Enterprise, CVN-65. Commissioned in 1961, the nuclear-powered USS Enterprise, the first of her kind, was a marvel of innovation and ambition. Stretching over 1,123 feet, she was the longest warship ever built, powered by 8 nuclear reactors that made her nearly unstoppable. She served forefront of history, responding during the Cuban Missile Crisis, conducting combat operations in Vietnam, and later supporting missions in the Persian Gulf. The Big E demonstrated the unmatched endurance and reach of nuclear-powered carriers, reshaping how navies projected power across oceans. When decommissioned in 2017, she left behind a legacy of technological excellence and combat distinction. Number 8. The USS Nautilus, SSN 571. When the USS Nautilus was commissioned on September 30, 1954, she changed naval history forever. As the world's first nuclear-powered vessel, her revolutionary reactor gave her limitless underwater endurance, allowing her to travel faster and farther than any submarine before her. In 1958, she made history again by becoming the first submarine to travel beneath the North Pole, a symbolic and strategic feat of the Cold War. Unlike diesel-electric subs, which had to surface regularly, Nautilus could remain submerged for weeks, redefining stealth and endurance. Over her 25-year career, she demonstrated that silent service could mean unseen dominance. Every nuclear submarine that followed, from fast attack to ballistic missile, owed its existence to her success. Number 7. The USS Missouri, BB-63. Commissioned in 1944, the USS Missouri joined the Pacific Fleet as one of America's most powerful battleships. Her might was undeniable, but her greatest moment came not in battle but in peace. Over September 2, 1945 in Tokyo Bay, Missouri became the site of Japan's formal surrender, ending World War II and marking a new world order. Her decks witnessed the conclusion of the most devastating conflict in human history. She later served again in Korea, and after decades in reserve, was modernized in the 1980s to fire Tomahawk missiles during the Gulf War. As the last battleships ever built by the United States, she symbolized both the peak and the end of the battleship era. Today, she rests in Pearl Harbor, facing the sunken USS Arizona, representing both the beginning and the end of America's World War II journey. Number 6. The USS Washington, BB-56. Commissioned in May 1941, the USS Washington was one of the most formidable battleships of the U.S. Navy during World War II. She earned her place in history at the naval battle of Guadalcanal in November 1942, when she single-handedly sank the Japanese battleship Kirishima, the only instance of a U.S. battleship defeating another in direct combat. Her radar-directed gunfire proved decisive, showcasing the arrival of a new era in naval gunnery. Beyond battle, Washington escorted carriers, protected convoys, and fought throughout the Pacific with unrelenting precision. Her combination of speed, armor, and firepower made her one of the most balanced battleships ever built. After the war, she was decommissioned but remembered as the Navy's most lethal battleship. Number 5. The USS Olympia C6. Commissioned 1895, the protected cruiser USS Olympia served as the flagship of Commodore George Dewey during the Spanish-American War. On May 1, 1898, in Manila Bay, Dewey gave the order, "You may fire when ready, Gridley," launching a battle that destroyed Spain's Pacific Fleet and signaled the rise of the United States as a global power. The victory transformed America's role in world affairs, leading to its presence in the Philippines and beyond. Olympia was among the first modern steel warships, bridging the age of sail and steam with powerful new guns and armor. After the war, she served as a training ship and later carried the body of the unknown soldier home. Preserved today as a museum in Philadelphia, she is the last surviving warship from the Spanish-American War. Number 4. The USS Maine, which was a significant vessel in American history. Commissioned in 1895, the USS Maine was sent to the Havana harbor to protect American interests during Cuban unrest. On the night of February 15, 1898, an explosion ripped through her hull, killing 266 sailors and shocking the nation. Though the cause remains debated, the tragedy ignited the rallying cry "Remember the Maine, to hell with Spain," and directly led to the outbreak of the Spanish-American War. That war changed everything. It signaled America's arrival as an imperial and naval power. Maine's destruction marked a turning point in U.S. foreign policy, where isolation gave way to expansion. Number 3. The USS Monitor, 1862. Commissioned in 1862, the ironclad USS Monitor forever changed the face of naval warfare. She entered history in the Battle of Hampton Roads, clashing with the Confederate ironclad CSS Virginia in the first fight between armored steamships. Though the battle ended indecisively, the implications were revolutionary. The wooden warship was instantly obsolete. With her low profile, revolving gun turret, and iron armor, the Monitor set the design standard for modern warships for decades to come. She represented the triumph of innovation over tradition and industrial progress over the age of sail. Her influence spread globally as navies rushed to adopt armored designs. The Monitor was more than a ship. She was the blueprint for the future of naval warfare. Number 2. The USS Enterprise CV-6. Commissioned in 1938, the USS Enterprise, known as the Big E, became the most decorated warship in U.S. history. She fought in nearly every major Pacific engagement of World War II, from Midway to Leyte Gulf, surviving countless attacks and near misses. Her aircraft turned the tide in critical battles that shaped the outcome of the war. When other carriers were sunk, Enterprise endured, earning 20 battle stars and the admiration of allies and enemies alike. She represented courage, resilience, and the unstoppable spirit of the U.S. Navy. Her crew's valor became legendary, and her name synonymous with victory. Beyond her service record, she symbolized the new age of aircraft carrier, when air power ruled the seas. Number 1. The USS Constitution, Old Ironside. Commissioned 1797, the USS Constitution remains the heart of America's naval legacy. Built from resilient oak and forged for the age of sail, She earned the nickname Old Ironsides after cannonballs seemed to bounce off her hull during the War of 1812. Her victories against British warships such as HMS Guerriere and Java inspired a young nation and secured the reputation of the fledgling U.S. Navy. She symbolized strength, craftsmanship, and defiance at a time when America was still proving itself on the world stage. Over 2 centuries later, she remains afloat and fully commissioned, a living link between the past and present. Moored in Boston, she stands not only as a museum but as a symbol of enduring American resolve. Thanks for watching. These ships remind us how innovation and bravery have defined the U.S. Navy through every era. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into naval history. Your support helps us bring more stories like these to life. And just to remind you again, let us know in the comments which U.S. ship you think deserves a place on this list.